You're listening to the Secure AF podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Secure AF podcast. I'm going to be your host today, Tanner, and I've got here with me Andrew Hickman. He leads up the SOC and runs the SOC Brief podcast and kind of generally a fixture around here at Alias.
Yeah, just, doer of shenanigans, I suppose.
Yeah. So today's going to be kind of, we got a topic and we're going to kind of riff on it, but it might be a little bit more educational sided than typically. So we wanted to talk about social engineering. We're getting a lot of questions about it and kind of what we break down those different attacks into, as well as maybe some of the stories of us acting as attackers or even responding to attacks. So you've gotten a chance to do a bit of social engineering, but I guess you're more so on the responding side.
Oh yeah, more than anything, I see the fishermen, as it were, the vishers, or
yeah,
but the actual guys, not just us, doing it for testing and
right
and
So I guess let's break it down. So you've got the types that we're going to follow is so you've got phishing, which is your phishing emails. Everybody knows phishing emails. It's
most common.
It's the most common. Everybody gets it.
Still very effective.
Incredibly effective. It's one of the most, if not the most effective way to actually get into a network.
Yeah.
I would say it is the most effective. Then you have smishing. So that's SM smishing with a SM. That is SMS phishing with a text message. Typically mass text messages going out. It can be directed at somebody. Largely it's dragnet campaigns. It's really, really large campaigns that go out with all kinds of stuff. And as we've seen, recent discoveries where the feds have busted some of these operations where they're just spamming off tons and tons. They've got these, rack mount servers, just cell phone antennas filled full of SIM cards, and that's what they're doing.
Yep, just attacking stuff.
Another one is vishing, right? And so we've talked about that a fair bit, given we always compete at the DEF CON event and everything like that.
I cover vishing in the SOC Brief too.
Yeah. So that's using your voice. That's phone calls typically.
Yep.
And that's just, as you can imagine, it's typically very targeted, and it's typically very done with a purpose. And then we have general social engineering in person. Not really as much of a term for that. It's typically what we're going to talk about, like on a physical pen test sort of deal. But we also see it happening all the time in real life too, where people have robbed banks just by going in and talking and acting like they belong. Somebody just robbed the Louvre. So it's definitely still something that's very, very relevant and very much worth talking about.
I mean, again, if we think about some of the major breaches, or companies being compromised here in the last several years, some of the larger ones were because of phishing.
Yes, yeah, for sure. We've even seen new campaigns that come. Like, did you talk about the note to self in the SOC Brief? Those attacks. So essentially, there's a lot of people that didn't have hard fail configured on their SPF records. So they were able to use a sort of an exploit in O365 to give them emails that look like it was a note from yourself. And a lot of people got caught up in that, and it ended up in a lot of compromises.
Yeah, or it showed up as like a calendar event, or
the calendar event was a different thing. But calendar, and that's another thing, is calendar events bypass a whole lot of email security.
Yeah.
And so there's constantly new campaigns and new evolving methods, and we see these sort of things. But it's why it's good to keep up with your
dude. Every day it changes. It's something new.
Yeah, for sure it is. One thing that I keep thinking about is so I want to talk about the Louvre a little bit. The Louvre incident.
I don't know a ton about that. I know that there was like a ladder truck or a crane involved, and
so basically guys came in, safety vests. They laddered up to an area, busted some glass, stole a bunch of stuff, left.
So stuff that we do without the glass breaking.
It looked just like a physical penetration test. It could not have looked anything more like, and some people argue, well, this isn't realistic. Nobody's going to be doing this. And it's like, time and time again, we see that this is a real thing. This does work.
Yeah.
People are susceptible and vulnerable to it.
Yeah.
And had they done some physical pen tests, maybe that wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Maybe they would have had some idea of how something like that might unfold. I mean, I always think back to like the people sneaking into concerts.
Yep.
That's been going on for a long time. Or you put on a vest or orange vest or look like you belong there and just walk right through and like, people don't even question you. So it's not much different than how we might do a pen test for certain locations ourselves.
There's a guy on YouTube. I wish I could remember his name on some social media platform, but one of his things is he just finds different ways that he can sneak into like concert venues and stuff. And so he'll just walk in with like a 5-gallon water cooler jug of water,
or like a ladder,
or a keg.
Yeah.
He started doing really weird stuff. He had like a bag of fruits. Just walking in, seeing what kind of weird stuff he could walk in with. And it's just like, if you got that attitude and just enough prop to make people go like, he's not trying to sneak in.
Yeah, why is a guy with a bag of fruit? Yeah, he's got somewhere to be, Leave that guy alone.
That fruit could spoil any minute.
It's crazy.
But I think it's something that's worth doing and talking about and everything still.
For sure. And unfortunately, I think that that's it's not even like a third or fourth thing on a list for some companies.
A lot of people don't do it at all. A whole lot of people. We'll say with when it comes to phishing, as far as training your people, phishing is much better. Like, everybody runs a phishing campaign just about these days.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're behind. You should.
Yeah.
But most people do run a campaign of some sort. Now, whether they just buy KnowBe4 and they just click go and let it do its thing,
right,
or they put a lot into it, or they're hiring somebody like us to come do targeted spear phishing campaigns at a C-level staff or something.
Right.
Really depends on how resilient your organization is going to be to those type of attacks, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's again something that we see like when we're doing phishing engagements and stuff is a lot of the times they're coming in because what they're doing already isn't like up to snuff, so to speak. So like they want something a little more involved, a little more granular, and so that we can either do specific targeting or we can do something a little bit more than just like, hey, the KnowBe4, and it's to try to get actual information, right? Like at a certain point in time, your employees are just going to get used to that kind of bland phishing emails that are coming across. And it's great that they're able to identify, like, oh, hey, that's pretty suspicious. But what happens whenever a domain gets spoofed or there's a tiny little change?
Or if you actually do get compromised on some low-level account that they can't really do anything with, and he starts sending off internal emails.
Yep.
So now what are you going to do?
Yeah. So it's like, it's always good to have at least something, and because like phishing being so prevalent and still like one of the major sources of entries for companies, like I think that at least that's at the top of the list of things to try to get training on. But we still see it where like large companies have never even done phishing training.
Yep.
So.
Yep. We sent out one phishing not that long ago that made me think of this. It was we sent the phishing email out as guise of phishing training. So it was just IT security training, right?
Right.
And it was you got a free gift card. You got a $25 Starbucks gift card if you completed the training.
Right.
Everybody was very excited about getting this gift card.
Yeah,
so it was a Teams form, and they clicked on it. It brought them to our server. It wasn't actually the O365 server at all. Cloned page. They log in, brings them to a Teams form. They never actually logged in. They're just on our server.
Right.
They just gave us their creds.
Yeah.
They go through it all. We had one guy complete it like 35 times. He really wanted that gift card.
Yeah,
he just couldn't get it to give him his gift card.
Didn't understand what was wrong. He probably reached out to someone in IT saying,
He did.
"Yeah, I did the training."
He did.
Yeah.
He did eventually. Yep. They told us about that whenever we sent the report, and we're like, the numbers are skewed because this guy did it 35 times.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't understanding why he wasn't getting his gift card.
He really wanted a mocha frappuccino.
That's a shame.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm getting something else instead.
Congratulations, you get more security
Yeah.
training. Yeah, yeah. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I always think about the using scenario-based ones too. So
Mhm.
like the PGA Tour that was coming in, how that was utilized to get a high level, C-suite guy that
Mhm.
you knew loved golf.
Mhm.
So that one is a good story too.
Well, yeah, I guess a couple more that have been super successful. So we had one. Well, actually, I'll tell you a common one first. We have one that we've done a whole lot of, which is you have to do it at the right time because this only works at one time of the year.
Yeah.
But open enrollment.
Oh yeah.
Typically, people don't know where that email is going to come from or when it's going to come. It's almost always going to be some outside source. It's going to take you to some weird link. It's going to do some stuff. It's very out of the process.
Yeah.
And that is usually my most successful phishing campaign.
Well, and during that time, the people who are handling that process, like HR, are probably sending out emails that are like, check your spam folder and, this is going to come across. Don't miss it. And so it's easier to play into that, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's been extremely, extremely successful on a red team assessment, a red team engagement, as well as, phishing tests. And then about like spear phishing, you talked about like, using a lot of information. So we had some spear phishing engagements come in. It's been quite a while since this one, a few years, but we want you to target our CEO. He says he can't get phished. He says he can't get hacked. He's far too aware of all this stuff. So I started just deep diving the guy, and I said, okay, this is my whole engagement is get
this guy.
Get this guy.
I'm gonna get this guy.
That was the whole engagement. So you guys want me to? You guys, anybody listening, want to do that? I love it. Please. So I found his LinkedIn, found his Facebook, started digging back. I ended up finding he's got Corvettes. He's got like 2 Corvettes. Loves these cars, just car shows. He's got like an older one, a newer one, just big Corvette guy. That's his hobby.
Yeah. You sound a passion.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm going back and back and back and back on his Facebook. And I find a post where they wanted to go to Bowling Green, I believe it's Kentucky. It's where all the Corvettes are made. There's a Corvette factory there. And apparently this is a thing that Corvette clubs like to do where they all cruise up there and a bunch of fun roads all through there. I guess it's like the Corvette pilgrimage or something.
Right.
And I said, okay, I got an idea. So I made a Facebook group for, local Corvette people. And I started adding people he was connected with, as well as a bunch of other people who had Corvettes, and just posting pictures of random Corvettes that weren't mine, and just people, cool car, like cool, getting engagement and stuff. And then I reached out to him and got him to join the group and started talking to him a little bit. And I said, hey, we're actually trying to get a group together to go down to Bowling Green, but we need somebody that can actually help us to lead that group. Oh my God, I have been trying to do this for years. One time I tried to get a group together. I couldn't get anybody together. Oh, you're a perfect guy, man. I have some documents already because we've been planning everything. We've been, I'll send you the spreadsheet that's got everything in it. Send him the spreadsheet, which he was using his corporate email, as a lot of CEOs like to do. Use their corporate email for everything. And then from there, you have to click accept macros. It's using macros for some stuff. So and then it was over. That was it. Yeah. Beacon callback. That was it. I'm sure he was pretty bummed out about his trip.
Corvettes, man.
But yeah, that just goes to show like somebody really wants to get it. I mean, it's just how much work do you want to put into it?
Sure. And I mean, that's one of the scary things, though, is thinking about just this day and age, what all things people put out onto social media.
Yeah.
Because taking into consideration that had he not had that hobby or that passion, or he did and he just didn't post to social media about it, it would have taken that avenue completely out of there.
Yeah.
And the treasure trove of data that is out on social media for everyone out there, it's amazing to me.
Yeah. I saw a comedy sketch one time that was like what people think hacking is like, and it's like a dude just like furiously typing like, all right, we're getting in through the
Right.
firewall, we're almost in, we've got it, we're back tracing the noodles and whatever, I don't know, like and then it says what it's really like, and it's got CIA, they're CIA hacking into stuff,
Yeah.
and it says, all right, I have sent him a friend's request on Steam.
Yeah.
And then it's like 6 months of playing video games with this guy, and he's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, dude, this mod's sick, install this mod.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're in.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's that. Yeah.
that's really
Build
what
that
it's like.
relationship or build a trust with someone. I mean, that's what she did with the Corvette guy, right? It's
Yep.
like you built a relationship and had some trust there, and then just he's got to be grateful that it was a training exercise and not something actually malicious. A lot of great learning lessons there.
If there's any C-levels watching, maybe don't tell your IT security team that you cannot be phished.
Yeah. Don't put that thought in their head.
Or do if it's fun for me.
Because again,
Okay.
for guys like us, like you say like, oh, it can't happen to me. It's like, well, that's a challenge.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how much does somebody really want to fish you? Because they
Right.
probably can if they're proficient and determined.
Yeah.
They could probably do it.
Yeah, if they have a target, they have a goal, like they're motivated attackers. They'll keep at it. They'll figure out a way to get in.
It sure will. Yeah. Okay. So we talked a little about email and physical stuff. Oh, I know a cool example of smishing, not that we did, but of something that was happening.
Uh-huh.
May still be happening. There are some people targeting turnpikes.
Oh yeah.
So
It's happening in a lot of states,
What it looks like they're doing is buying geofence data.
allegedly.
So they are, well, it looks like they're.
Yeah.
It looks like they're buying geofence data from advertising companies because you can just do that.
Yeah.
Anybody can do that. You can just do that. And then they are sending fake texts. A lot of people watching this have probably gotten them.
Yeah.
They're sending fake texts after you drive on the turnpike that says, you have an overdue toll balance, click here to pay it.
Right.
And I guess they're getting, $10, $20 here and there. They're probably not. But I mean, I'm sure that goes
Getting
out
rich,
to
but-
so many people.
Oh yeah.
And I talked to somebody at the Turnpike Authority about this at SecCon. He had a big project where he was actually working to fight that with a
Huh.
whole bunch of other Turnpike Authority agencies.
Right.
And so this is something that's widespread across like 25 states or something.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That it was pretty widespread.
So we can't just write off smishing like, well, we don't do it a lot. We don't see it a lot. It's like IT security. I mean, just as general security, I think it's
kind of weird to me too, because I feel like people are way more apt to respond to a text or click on something in a text rather than like a phone call this day and age.
Well, I bet you if we're talking about money stolen, the number's probably higher
Right.
through smishing than anything else, if I had to guess.
Hmm.
Because they do really, really widespread targeted campaigns.
Right.
But they're targeting just, Joe the plumber and Tim, they're targeting
Your mom and
random,
dad. Yeah.
random everybody. They're not actually targeting, I'm going to go hack this company or I'm going to go for this industry. and
Yeah,
try to
not
hack
anyone
businesses
that's
in this
had any
industry.
kind of like corporate or formal training on any kind of like business security at all.
Not saying that doesn't happen.
Right.
I'm sure it does. I don't hear about it a whole lot.
Yeah.
I mean, MFA bombing and things like that, talking about SMS, but as far as like, I'm just going to text everybody in this company and see
What you did.
if somebody will click on the link or whatever. I mean, yeah.
Right.
Plus, your security on your mobile phone's typically working very differently than, your standard browser on your
Right.
unpatched Windows 10 box with updates on Firefox or Chrome that you keep putting
Right.
off. Like, it's a very different situation. And it's, for me, I don't really care about even trying to own your phone on an assessment, like as an
Yeah, because
attacker.
what's the effort versus the payout, right?
Yeah. Like, okay, cool. I got something. Maybe I have access to your email, or maybe I have access to a VPN account if I'm really, really lucky.
Right.
Or I could just target you on your computer, and then I could have access to definitely those things as well as a domain join machine.
Right. Yeah, there's more payoff, more potential for a payoff there.
Yeah, certainly.
Yes, I think I mean, even looking at like the history of like, it's something that I talk about in the last talk I did about like the history of malware, like the evolution of like cellular malware and like
Yeah.
how it popped up and kind of fizzled. Like it didn't really, like it's there, yeah, but it's a lot of effort for not a whole lot of reward at the end of the day.
So I think that that's largely to do with bug bounty programs. Apple is paying over $1 million if you have like a one-click RC
Right.
to an iPhone.
Yeah. We've joked about that at DEF CON and stuff.
There's yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, it's what I always say at DEF CON. If somebody's got a 0 day that they're gonna burn on me for an iPhone, for a fully patched iPhone, like I'll hire them on the spot,
Right.
like without a doubt. That's yeah. So I think that they have solved a lot of the problem by just throwing buckets of money at it.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's kind of like the big difference between like a major corporation like Apple and some of these smaller companies, right? Like you've got these potential problems. Do you have the money to throw at it? Because if the answer is yes, then, here you go. But if it's no, then you do what you can in between, right?
Yeah, yeah, certainly. But your phones are typically Apple or Google.
Right.
So I mean, they usually do have that
Well,
sort of.
Yeah, some kind of Android based or
But-
iOS based.
But in the end, it's typically Google devs who are supporting the Android. I mean, I
Right.
know there's a lot of open source and things how that's working, but yeah, there's just the bug bounty programs are pretty stout for it. Now, there's stuff like Pegasus, and there's stuff that we don't know about like Pegasus.
Yeah.
If you
That
find
gets into
yourself on the receiving end of that, don't call me.
Yeah.
You're I'm not going to say that word on this podcast, but
Right.
you're that.
Yeah.
You're done.
Well, you've gotten into nation state stuff, so
Yes, yeah. You have pissed off somebody in the NSA or that has contacts with the
Right.
NSA or some other. I don't know if the NSA actually uses like Pegasus. I don't know if there has been any proof that they have. They probably have their own stuff if I had to guess, but
probably.
I really don't know.
Well, we'd never know anyways.
My point is, that's if your adversary also has millions and millions of dollars to throw at the problem, they can probably get into.
Dude,
So-
that's one of the, not to get sidetracked, but taking phone calls from people who need assistance, like, hey, my phone's been hacked. It's like one of those initial conversations is like, well, probably not. Let's look at, what accounts are you having problems with? Because if your phone's been hacked, then we can't help you. you know?
If you call me and you say anything other than I'm a congressperson, I'm a senator, I'm a high profile journalist,
Right.
like, your phone's probably not hacked. You probably lost your iCloud password.
Right.
Like,
I mean, it's not impossible for like, your Google account or your iCloud account to get hacked and compromised. Absolutely.
typically, it's nothing, and it's somebody who is just having a really tough time,
Yeah.
and they just start getting a little bit paranoid, thinking that things are happening.
For sure.
And
We live in
then
a world, so
And then it's not uncommon for people who are calling us to saying those things where we find a root cause where it's like, oh yeah, your iCloud got hacked.
yeah, absolutely.
Like that's fairly common, and they think every time one thing we hear a lot is every time I get a new phone, they're back in. It's like you're just restoring a compromised iCloud backup. Like you still
Right.
need to change the password on the
Yeah.
iCloud. So yeah,
But that type of misunderstanding just kind of leads to that snowball effect too, though. So.
it does. It really does. Yep. Okay. Only thing we didn't really cover as much as vishing. So
Vishing's the fun one.
what you got on vishing?
Vishing?
tell us about vishing?
We just wrapped up a vishing campaign not too long ago. It was actually our second campaign we did for this company. I think it was within the year. I think we did them just like a year apart.
Yeah.
Targeting like the same employees and things like that. And the fun prompt that I wanted us to try to go with was calling the employees saying, hey, we're from IT, like, because we had a name of an IT guy, and saying, hey, we've got reports of a suspicious email in your mailbox, and
Mhm.
we need access to your mailbox to investigate that. And just asking for credentials was super successful. It was kind of surprising.
Yep.
And then one of our guys who had never done fishing before, he'd got the username and password and was like, "Oh, thank you so much," and hung up, and then was able to verify the credentials and got an MFA prompt. And he's like, "Oh man," I was like, "Call him back." Asked for the MFA code, and sure enough, called back. Said, "Oh yeah, I forgot we need your MFA code to access this," and there they go.
What I like doing on that is just making stuff up. Like, so obviously I can log you out and log myself in. You don't have to give me your password, but you are going to be locked out of your email for the rest of the day.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, give them a little bit of, oh man, yeah. That's a good play there. Trying to think of some other ones.
I did a phishing call on a physical pen test a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, how'd that
Yeah.
go?
So I had Dylan go in, and he said, "Hey, I'm Cox guy." Had a fake work order and everything like that. We chose somebody who we knew was out of office for the name on it.
Yeah.
Called him, no answer. Cool, everything's going well. And she calls that guy's subordinate or whatever. It was that guy's manager. And so he says, "Nah, I don't have that work order in the system. I gotta have that work order. We'll have to figure it out." He says, "Hey, no problem. I'll go ahead and call. I'll go back. I'll call the office. We'll get it figured out." Which I'm like, cool. That's the appropriate thing to do in this situation. They
Right.
handled it well. So he comes back and meets me, and we wait a little while, and I call back as not the guy who was gone, but that guy's boss. And I say, "Hey, I'm sorry. I know he's out of office and everything's crazy right now. The Cox is supposed to be there." And she says something about Verizon, and I was like, "Yeah, so this is actually for the change out." Yeah. So this is this is all some stuff we have to do to make sure the change out is good. She's like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense." And then this is actually a success story for them.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "Dude, you're good. Go ahead
Yeah.
and go back." So I spoofed the number. I called. I pretended to be that guy. Everything was going well. So Dylan goes back. He's walking in with his his work order and his fake equipment and stuff. And she's on the phone, and she's like, "1 second, hang on, hold on." And then he hangs on. She hangs up, and she goes, "I'm sorry. They're telling me no now. Also, I don't know what's going on. I'm so sorry for all the confusion." She called the guy back to say, "Hey, actually, boss guy said that we were supposed to have them, and he said, 'No, I've got boss guy right next to me, and he didn't call you.'"
Oh man,
So
so close.
they communicated, they
Yeah.
followed procedure, they did well, and it beat them
That's
out.
what you want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we went back at night, and
I mean, it's not what we want to see.
then
But...
then we popped the door with a gate tool and got our implants in.
Well, yeah. So at least they passed the social engineering side of it.
They
but-
did flawlessly, but I don't like to lose.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's a good transition into the physical pen test side of things.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it with the Louvre and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
yeah. I know you're not a big fan of doing physical pen tests.
I'm not, man. I just, I don't know. I had that,
It's nerve-wracking.
it is. I'm just not really built for it. I get nervous. Though I was taught by super well experienced penetration tester, just kind of leading me, giving me the ropes, like use that nervous energy against you. And I did. And although I was still very nervous, I could have been successful, I think, on that first one I ever did. Where, we went into, I think it was an ISP, and we were trying to get, something installed in the network, and was kind of like knocking on doors, super nervous. No, I was trying to like get into doors, like picking doors. And I ended up, someone opened a door as I was like, trying to get in. And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. This, I'm such and such from the IT team. Someone's complaining about slow internet. I've got to come connect this thing in to get, do some speed tests. And I've got this work order.
We got to clear out the tubes.
Yeah.
make
And
sure
I
no
was, I was
clogs.
just like, I was just trying to use that nervousness in typical, like, I don't know, that Southern hospitality fashion. Like, I got that kind of bless your heart treatment. Like, "Oh, well, we don't need that in here, but let's get you to someone who can help you. And I got to the front desk and talked to a lady for a little while, and she, unfortunately, I couldn't get to like a place to install it. But they didn't question me at all. They just couldn't like help me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of walked out of there with an L, but it wasn't like someone was calling the cops. So I'm trying to figure out how, like, what's the tactic of how can I turn that nervousness into my advantage, right? It's still tough, but it's a strategy.
Yeah, I tell everybody, I don't want to tell you what to do. Like when we're bringing new people on, like you need to do what's going to work for you.
Yeah.
Because like what's going to work for me is not necessarily going to work for you.
Oh, for sure. I couldn't do it the same way that you guys do it.
Yeah, I think you just have to find your strengths and roll with it.
Yeah.
For sure.
See, I know it's like, hey, this is a job. They want us to do this, but it's hard to disconnect. Like, I have to lie to these people, like it doesn't feel good. And so, but yeah, just trying to get over that. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are probably pretty similar. Like maybe not everyone's built for it the way you think you are, but you probably have an angle that you could utilize to your advantage.
There's been several people who wanted to do physicals that we brought on physicals. They did one and they're like, nah.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be like, I'm one of those guys that like, I don't want to go physical a bank. I don't. There's law enforcement and guns involved. No thanks. No, but that thought like terrifies me. Like,
yeah.
What if I just do my job and someone like, there's a bank robber, shoot that guy,
Yeah.
No thanks.
We've only had a gun pulled on us once.
Yeah. I wasn't there, thankfully.
Yeah. It was only halfway pulled,
Yeah. Unholstered?
Yeah, it was like, he had his hand on his gun, like kind of like halfway unholstered. Yeah. Like, what are you doing?
Was that a bank too?
Yeah. Middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely middle of nowhere. And it was funny. It was during COVID, and we had our COVID masks on because we're like, obstruct our identity even better.
Right.
But we were in the middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, and we didn't think about it. That made us look very suspicious because nobody wore a COVID mask
out there. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that one didn't work out too well. Still actually achieved all of our objectives and got out.
Yeah.
So no big deal. But yeah, definitely the only time I almost had a gun pulled on me.
For sure.
Yeah. I almost been arrested once. But generally, things go pretty smooth. The last one we just did, like, we set off the burglar alarm and had enough time it was about 2 minutes from the time I popped the door to the time we had 3 implants in out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
It really doesn't take that long in most cases. All I'm trying to do is get on the network. Depends on the objective set.
Right.
If I can get on the network, I can do most things. But I just needed to get on network in that case. Now, if you say, I want you to physically access the server room, like, okay, add another minute or two. I got to find the server room. If I don't already know where it's at through OSINT or whatever, I got to get into it, and it'll add a little bit maybe. But, I mean, if the goal is, hey, get on network and I can already reach the servers from there,
it's going to be easy.
I don't really need access to the server room. I already have 3 ways back in. One of them's a keylogger.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the cool things about how we do the pen tests and how we work with our customers on them is like, what do you want our goal to be?
Yeah, everything's tailored based off of what your threat model is.
Right.
Yeah.
Not every company is the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a bank's not going to be the same as a school.
Right.
I mean, a bank is going to be concerned about, getting robbed, right? Like, and then you have a school, what's their biggest concern? Well, actually, it's really student safety.
Yeah.
Personnel and student safety.
Yeah.
So whenever we do that, a lot of the times they think of, okay, well, think about it from the lens of what could you do that would hurt somebody, and make sure you make note of that.
Those are kind of like, not necessarily the pen test, but just kind of like the physical side assessments are one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, the physical side assessments. Yeah. And that's a good way to approach those too. Because you don't necessarily need to just do, I know our topic is social engineering, but I mean, there's the whole other side of it where if I don't have to talk to somebody, if I can just kick in a door whenever nobody's around, or, if I can just pick a lock or more likely use a plastic shim on a door or something like
pull
that.
Pull it open.
Yeah, just yank it open and overcome the crappy latch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely happens. Yeah, and so it's like you said, it's different for every organization, every business.
For sure.
So if you are interested in doing something like that, make sure you actually stop and think about why you're doing it and what your concerns are. And maybe it's just, hey, we just need to know. We don't know. We don't know what our concerns are. Then have a conversation with it about, with your team or with a consultant or whoever. But yeah, make sure that you're getting the most out of it, doing what's best for you. It's not just a singular checkbox of physical pen test.
Yeah, done. And then we don't do anything about the report or results of it.
Yeah.
I think that's,
Yeah,
fortunately, we see that.
we don't see that so much on the physical side because typically that's people who are going above and beyond that are buying physical. Typically, those are people that have really good networks and really good things as is.
Right. The
Um,
vested interest to fix things.
Yeah, you can tell it's typically people who care. The people who just checkbox pen test is typically they just want an external, and sometimes they'll even tell you, I only want you to do what's required for PCI compliance or whatever. And a lot of the times I'm like, yeah, I'd probably call somebody else, but
Yeah.
we're not going to be what you want. So,
For sure. Well,
you have any other good social engineering stories?
trying to think if I have any good ones. I mean, one of the last ones that was good that I wasn't on was the rooftop entry
Oh yeah.
from the
Yeah, I've got lots of physical stories. I'm trying not to retell some of them. I don't think that one has been told yet though.
can't remember if we
Because I've got the other
Oh.
podcast, After Dark podcast, where I talk a lot about them. Okay, so it was I'm not even gonna say what type of organization, but it was a couple of different locations. I think it was 3 locations actually only 2 were in the city, and the other one was way far away. So they go up there to the city that they're in. They attempt to make entry during the day, and it looks like it's just not gonna work. Building's super packed. They're getting asked and escorted, and things aren't working out. So they end up leaving, and they say, "Okay, let's come back later." So they come back, and they're looking around, looking at the doors, trying to figure out what's the best way they can get in. They find a gate they can very easily climb over, and then from there is a billboard next to the building, like right next to the building. So one of our engineers climbs the billboard, and he's able to jump from the edge of the billboard to the roof of the building. It's like a 3-foot gap between. So he jumps over onto it, and he was able to pop the pins and the hinges out on the latch door that was on the top. They were in there for like 2 hours, which I scolded them for, because you should never be anywhere for 2 hours on a physical pen test unless you were waiting, scoping stuff out, waiting. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't say never, but generally not. This was
Well, I
not
think
the
he
time
got
to do
that.
that.
He got that confidence because, like, as soon as he walked into the door, he found a vest and
He
a
did.
hard hat.
He did. That's good. Yeah, it's a good mention. Yeah, so he found a branded safety vest and branded hard hat.
Yeah,
So at this point, he's looking like somebody who obviously works here, who's annoyed that he's
Right.
here at 11 at night. And so that was great. That was very good. And they got their implants in. They got every piece of the building scoured. They found the key boxes. They
Yeah.
found IDs. They were able to clone IDs. They were able to clone keys, take photos and rubbings of keys. That way they could come back and cut the keys and clone them. They got every server room had a different implant in it. Yeah, it was.
and no one would have ever known they were there.
Nope, nobody would have ever known that they were there, because we told them we stole the safety vest, and they were like, "Oh, we didn't know there was one missing. You can keep it." Yeah, very cool. I actually really like that's one.
Yeah.
It's probably one of my favorite customers. I really like
Yeah,
working with them.
for sure.
Like working with them. But yeah, because they kind of just take the gloves off.
Yeah.
See what you can do.
Those are the best ones, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether it's fishing or vishing,
And they came out of it with a whole bunch of stuff they can fix.
right?
So
Yeah.
it works.
But that's
out.
what they want, right?
Yeah, it works out well.
Yeah, I think when we get into those, like, those kickoff calls with customers on those things, and again, whether it's a phishing engagement or vishing or a physical pen test, like when we like, hey, what's our guidelines, and they're like, there's no rules. It's like, all right, let's go. They want to see how creative we can get, because a lot of the times that's how attackers work.
Well, yeah, they don't care what your scope is.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
certainly don't. Yeah, they don't. There's no such thing as out of scope for an attacker.
Yeah,
It's not.
Yeah, so I think that's one way you can get actual, like, realistic, plausible, like what are our actual weak points here?
Okay. In your professional experience, or a professional opinion rather, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say the main things that somebody can do to make themselves resilient to social engineering as a whole is?
Oh man, that's a Pandora's box. Um,
Broad things.
Broad things. I mean, honestly, training your employees, like number one, like having some kind of program or training, or maybe quarterly. What I really like, I've seen some companies do, is they do like security bulletins that they send out. So like your IT team or your security team will, at the start of the month or at the end of every week, or however you can do it, can say, hey, heads up, in our business sector, there's these types of attacks happening.
Mm-hmm.
These are how they're unfolding. And, we see, you don't have to say IOCs, but what we would consider IOCs, or
Well,
you might receive an email that looks like this. Like,
it's not a bad thing to think about fishy things in an email as possible IOCs.
no, I'm
It's an interesting way to think about it, actually. But
Yeah,
anyways,
I mean,
yeah, go on.
yeah,
I actually kind of like that.
yeah.
I might go somewhere with that.
That's,
Kinda
I
like
mean, but
that.
that's what it is though, right? Like,
Logically, yes.
but that's
it
not,
is.
I mean, I was saying just for the terminology's sake,
Yeah, I
for
know
your
what you mean.
employees that aren't really
I know
that
what you
well versed, and you just want them to be able to say like, oh, this is suspicious. The other side of that I think is super critical, that I've brought up in my podcast, I've brought it up on podcasts with Kimmit, I bring it up in my talk, is having a culture that rewards people for bringing those things to the appropriate people.
Mhm.
Like, hey, I got this email, I clicked on the link, I'm super sorry, but this is what happened, this is the time it happened, like, so that you don't have that dwell time for the threat actors.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the times, especially in IT, like we fall into this trap where you can get angry or frustrated. Like, how could you even have fallen for this? Like, and then, the people that are the victims in that case, that, if you shame them for like, even how could you, like, that makes them much less likely to report anything in the future.
Certainly.
And, to counter that, I think, especially in like corporate environments or workspaces, like you have to be able to motivate them to continue to do that stuff, because that's the only way they're going to get better. And that's the only way you're going to be able to stop things if it does happen.
Yeah, positive reinforcement is pretty big. It's a simple thing, but I had somebody tell me recently what they do is they make a challenge coin every year, and it's if you get all of your security tests, training, whatever, you succeed, you pass all of them, you get a challenge coin,
Right.
and people like collect, they make them really cool.
See-
It's like a dumb, it's a simple little thing, but people kind of get excited about it, and they
Sure.
think, oh, I don't want to mess up and miss out on.
It's a nice shiny. Yeah, I get it. But from my experience with the vishing and stuff, like, we were targeting employees with vishing that we were highly successful on, who had gone through trainings.
You're correct.
And so, like, it's not just, in my mind, it's not just enough just to go, hey, here's these trainings.
It's not.
Check the box. I mean, it's check the box. It's like anything else. Check the box isn't good. Like, it's just really not. Like, are you doing a pen test just to check a box?
You have
It's
to.
not, you're not
it's-
getting anything from it.
You have to instill that critical thinking, and just the I don't know a good way to phrase it, but you don't want to be paranoid, but
Right.
you do want to be skeptical.
Yeah, we have a customer that they had an employee who clicked on a malicious link and followed it and put their credentials into a phishing form, and immediately realized what they had done, and then went and reported it and got the account locked up, reset credentials, did everything you do in that point in time. And how they handled it was great, because they, were just very grateful. There was no like shaming them. And it's something that they do, like part of their, it's just kind of a call out, like, hey, we stopped a a phishing attack because of this report. They weren't calling out that like, well, it shouldn't have ever happened in the first place, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they got called out like, hey, we were able to stop this because this user reported it.
Yeah.
And so that's that positive reinforcement side of things. And then again, I think if you can compound it with like the trainings are great for your employees to know that those threats are there to begin with. But as we talked about, and as we talk about all the time, this is an ever-evolving world. Like the threats that are here today might not be the threats that are here tomorrow. So some kind of continued like education, like I was saying with like the email, some kind of bulletin, something you send out, like, and if you wanted to like have some kind of reward for something like, hey, read the bulletin and come to the, the break room for, treat, answer a question or,
Mhm.
I don't know, something to help motivate people just to, not to like shame them for not doing it, but like, how can you motivate people to be informed,
Mhm.
especially people who don't care about any of this or it's all Latin to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the real challenge.
Okay. So if you've made it this far, drop your suggestions for positive reinforcements in comments.
Yeah, or how do you get your employees to how do you inform them? How do you educate your employees on, this constant world of evolving threats out there in cybersecurity, for sure.
Yeah. Right on. I think we've covered some social engineering stuff. I think that's
A
some.
lot of social engineering.
Yeah. Yeah. So all right. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us today on the Secure AF podcast, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.
The Secure AF podcast is a production of Alias Cybersecurity. Visit us online at aliascybersecurity.com. All rights reserved.